Yo, what is up guys? Welcome back to the Grow a Garden video. Today we're going over everything you need to know about the new update, the best methods to farm this new update. We're going over like 3 or 4 different methods, and also I'll be talking about how you can AFK this event, whether you're on mobile or PC, turn yourself even more rewards on top of the rewards you can earn from manually playing. So we're going to go over quite a bit in this video. If you enjoyed this video, find it useful, or just want to stay updated on all the best leaks, tips, tricks, and methods for Grow a Garden, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That being said, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into the video. No, I just want to say I'm sorry for the lack of uploads lately. I've kind of hit like a little content drought, you can call it. Just had a hard time coming up with ideas. And when I make videos, I want to make sure they're actually useful and enjoyable. I don't just want to make videos for the sake of making videos. But honestly, I haven't been enjoying Grow a Garden as much as I used to. However, this update has honestly changed things, and I have been enjoying grinding this update, finding the best methods for it over the last day. And I'm super excited to show you guys what I have found and what I'm taking advantage of to get the most amount of items. Let's first off talk about this update, and I want to go over exactly how good this update is if you weren't already aware, or if you haven't really been playing these updates recently. So first off, it's pretty simple. It's kind of like the summer harvest event, but in my opinion, way better. Basically, the NPC is going to be asking for a random fruit type. I think it resets once every hour or once every half an hour. And all you do is bring that fruit type to her, submit it, and you'll get a certain amount of points. The higher the rarity, and if it's silver, gold, or rainbow, do affect the points you get. But for every 500 points you donate, you'll get yourself one of these individual rewards, which are pretty cool. And there is no cooldown. That is absolutely amazing. But there's also a global points that you'll be contributing to, and as the global points reach certain milestones, everyone unlocks different rewards. So I really do like this. The event is still progressing even after a day that it's been released, so we still don't have all the features unlocked, which I think is really cool. And I do like this idea of having the event like slowly release over a few days, and it's not incredibly hard. I think we will reach the last milestone probably by tomorrow, which makes the event shop restock 4 times faster, which is actually pretty wild, especially for what I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. But that leads me to the event shop, where you can also go ahead and buy the new safari egg and a ton of interesting gears and seeds. So honestly, the fact that there's no cooldown on donating, the fact that the rewards aren't incredibly OP so you don't feel like you're completely breaking the game, and the fact that there's global points, which we are still working towards a day after the update, all of this makes this update feel a lot more replayable. And I've actually found myself enjoying this update and the process of finding the best methods to farm it. And surprisingly, they even did a great job with the non-event related changes. For example, you get a free garden slot without having to buy it from the Garden Ascension shop, which is insanely good for quality of life. They released a new season's pass with a ton of cool looking seeds and really good pets. That's also a nice theme in this update. Most of these pets have incredibly useful abilities, most notably the rhino, the hydra, the elephant. I'll be talking about these in a little bit, and how I already have myself a nightmare rainbow hydra. But if you want to trade for these pets super easily, definitely check out today's sponsor. Trade Kitsune is an amazing Grow a Garden trading platform with tons of useful tools. They make it incredibly easy to trade with other players, and with the new anti-scam system, they're committed to making sure you are safe when trading. So make sure to take advantage of the report button on their website and on their Discord. They literally review everything and ban people within 24 hours. Use their trade fairness system to easily know exactly how good of a deal you're getting, and this is constantly being updated with over 30 popular regular pets adjusted to live market behavior. And trading's as simple as posting the trade, getting offers and messages from interested players, confirming the trade, adding each other, and meeting up in Roblox. And with tons of upcoming features like a universal pet weight calculator and articles and guides on new events, now's the perfect time to try Trade Kitsune. Okay, so all the yapping out of the way, let's go over the best general manual method to farm this event. This is going to work for any player, and it's pretty simple. Basically, you want to have a plan that covers at least one of each of the categories that the NPC can ask for. So far, the only categories that people have come across are stocky fruit, woody, tropical, vegetable, prickly, flower, as well as leafy. Now, you can use this chart on screen to help determine what type of plants you want to use, but personally, I use the Grow Garden Wiki. There's this page here, I'll have it linked in the description, but you can go to any fruit trait, find all the fruits that are covered by that trait, and then figure out what you have and use them. But I already did a lot of testing, and I used a lot of reclaimers to figure out the best plants for me and probably for you. First off, for berry, fruit, and leafy, this is definitely one of the best. It's blue raspberries. If you can get your hand on some blue raspberries, I forget how you can get them, but I have a ton of them, so they cannot be too hard. As well as regular raspberries. Those are 2 amazing berries. They are a much higher rarity than strawberries and blueberries, so you'll get a reward for every backpack full of these that you have. but if you don't have these, definitely use strawberries and blueberries. And then I also have speargrass, which also covers the berry category, but also does cover the woody, prickly, and leafy category. This is also amazing. I have candy cornflower, which also covers a ton of categories. Glowthorn for prickly, you don't really have to do that. Peppers are amazing for vegetables, but obviously tomatoes are just as fine. If you have a ton of tomatoes, use those. And then for flowers, I have roses, I have crown of thorns, obviously those cornflowers. And then I do also typically use coconuts to cover the fruit, the tropical and the woody category, because it covers a ton. So if you have coconuts, use those as well. And for stocky, I have some parsley down here, which grows super duper fast. But just make sure you have a crop that covers every category on screen there, and make sure it's a decent rarity and multi-harvest and fast growing. The rarity is super important to make things more efficient. And then all you really do, check what they're craving, go to your garden, pick up whatever crop covers that category, go back to the event area, submit it, and literally do that over and over again, and you'll get a ton of points and a ton of rewards. Obviously, use some duplication pets like giant ants, stegosauruses, etc. to speed up the process even more. Now, the next strategy I'm going to talk about is probably the easiest and most time efficient, way more efficient than strategy 1, but it's only going to get you a ton of safari eggs. But obviously, most people are looking for that elephant pet, looking to hatch as many safari eggs as possible. So this method is definitely for you and is really, really easy to do. All this really takes advantage of is the safari shop. In the safari shop, not always, but I'd say 1 out of 4 restocks, there is going to be some safari eggs in stock, which only cost a few million shekels. So you might already see where I'm going with this, but you can easily go ahead and create a ton of alt accounts. Super simple. Use whatever username you want. I'd recommend you make it really simple usernames to remember with a number after. And then on each one of these accounts, log in, trade it an expensive fruit, maybe even trade it shekels. If it's 7 days old, you can use a trading ticket and directly trade shekels, but make sure it has a few million shekels. If you have used alt for any other event, like any other alt abusing videos I have went over, you probably already have a ton of shekels on a ton of different alts. But as long as each one of your alts has a few million shekels that you can use to buy the eggs, whenever a safari egg comes in stock, log into each account, buy the egg, place it down on your garden, and you can do this over and over again each time the safari egg comes in stock. And then obviously in 4 hours, you have a ton of safari eggs ready to hatch. Now, to put this into perspective, I have about 20 alt accounts. It takes me only 15 minutes to log into each one, buy the eggs, place them down on my garden. And if there's only 1 safari egg in stock, that's still 20 eggs that I not only have, but are placed down and ready to hatch in 4 hours. And if there's 2 safari eggs in stock, that's 40 eggs that I have and that are placed down and ready to hatch within 4 hours. And obviously, every time a safari egg shows up in stock, you can buy eggs, place them down on your alts. And over time, as we reach the community milestones, it's going to get more and more broken. With a 15-minute shop restock, you're going to at least get 1, 2, maybe even 3 or 4 safari eggs in stock every single hour. In fact, just now 2 safari eggs went in stock, so I'll be going across all of my alts and buying up these safari eggs for 40 extra eggs that I can then place down on my garden and hatch. Now, before we get into AFKing the event, let's talk about the last and probably most game-breaking method of the video, which is going to have to do with farming 1 or 2 specific plant traits. Now, I've seen most people doing this with coconuts and mangoes because they cover the woody and the tropical and the fruit category, and they're also mythical and high yield, meaning they're basically set up to give you a ton of points and a ton of fruits. So I'd probably recommend you do the same, but basically you want your plot to have as many of a high rarity, high yield, doesn't necessarily have to be fast growing crop, which you can then go ahead and abuse with the harvest all and giant ants. Now, the harvest all for some reason is even more broken than it used to be, and it fills up your inventory way past capacity, especially with a team of giant ants, meaning eventually if you can get 800 coconut seeds or mango seeds on your garden, considering each coconut yields about 10 coconuts per plant, it's about 8,000 fruits, which are then going to be duplicated into over 10,000 fruits, which will then be in your inventory that you can then submit to the NPC. Now, I've seen a ton of people do this so far, and as you can see here, with 6,000 fruits, they were able to get 32,000 points, which is a lot of rewards. Now, if you're like me and still struggling to get all the coconut seeds and mango seeds you need, all I've really been doing is using a full team of snails, collecting all of the crops. Sometimes I'll use harvest all, sometimes I'll just manually collect it, getting a ton of seeds from collecting it, using the snails, placing down those seeds, and then doing the process over and over again. And obviously I am using some pixies as well as a farmer chipmunk to help the fruits grow back faster. And I'm doing this as much as I can to get as many seeds as possible. But obviously the more coconut and mango seeds or whatever plant you're using, the better it's going to be. And the more rewards you're going to be able to farm, like this person right here. Now, the issue with this method is that Harvest All can be pretty laggy, so you're gonna have to test it out and see what actually works for your game, how many you can use. But apparently people have been using 800 coconuts and stuff, and they have been fine, but their game does freeze for a little bit until it gets unstuck. Now, the other issue with this method is that honestly, you don't get an incredible amount of safari eggs, only 4 for getting 32,000 points. But you do get a ton of other stuff like level up lollipops, paradise eggs, bee eggs, etc. So if you're like me and you want a bunch of those stuff, farming this is still worth it. But if you're going for safari eggs specifically, you can easily get way more and up to hundreds per day using the second method in this video or the AFK method I'm about to show you. So if you are on PC or mobile, you can AFK this event for quite a bit of safari eggs. You can't really AFK the rewards too easily, but for the safari eggs, just use the safari shop. Like I keep saying, as the milestones keep getting reached, we are going to get lower and lower shop restock times. Currently it restocks every 45 minutes, but once it's maxed out, which will probably be in about maybe a day or so, it'll be 3 times faster. So currently on average, every 2 or 3 restocks, we get at least 1 or 2 safari eggs, meaning you'll get at least 2, maybe even 3 or 4 safari eggs every hour once the restock is maxed out. So simply open the shop, leave the menu open like this, and use an auto clicker to spam by the eggs. It's that simple. There's tons of auto clickers for PC like Tiny Task, like OP auto clicker, and then for mobile there's auto clickers like GC auto clicker that you can also use. Any of those work. Just set it up to auto click the safari egg like this. But if you're like me and you really want to increase productivity, take advantage of those alt accounts and play on multiple Roblox instances at once, whether it's using multiple devices or using Roblox Account Manager. There's tons of tutorials on that, or using what I use, which is Fiststrap. I'll have it linked in the description. It's basically a bootstrapper for Roblox. All you do is open it up, go into configure settings, go into integration, scroll down until you see allow multi-instance launching, click save and launch. And just like that, we can launch multiple Roblox instances at once. It'll be logged into your first account, but you just log out and then go ahead and log into your next account. And what I like about this the most is that Fiststrap also allows you to go into your settings and change the frame rate to like even 20 or maybe even 10, because frame rate doesn't matter for AFKing the shop. And you can change your graphics quality a lot lower than it lets you inside the game settings, meaning you can run a ton of accounts without using a ton of resources. But then all you need to do is set up each account with the safari egg menu opened and use something like Tiny Task to record yourself buying the egg in both accounts. And then you can stop recording, click play, and you'll notice it does it back over again. And you can do this for as many accounts as you want. And I plan on doing this for about 5 to 10 accounts because Fiststrap lets you adjust the quality. You can run so many accounts, it's super easy, meaning the 20 or so safari eggs that I would AFK with one account goes up to easily a couple hundred per day. Now for my hardcore macro players, it is possible to macro the event. I'll have some footage over the screen right now showing you kind of how the macro loop looks. Basically, you want to organize your inventory with each fruit type very accessible, and then you just go back and forth collecting from each fruit group, submitting it to the NPC over and over again, and then at the end you buy whatever you want from the safari shop as well. And also make sure you're selling your inventory between collecting and submitting each fruit type. Once your garden is pretty evenly laid out, it's not too hard to record the macro, but I did this for 9 hours and only got 20 safari eggs and not a ton of incredibly decent other rewards. So if you're going for any of these rewards, I'd recommend using method 1. Manually farming it whenever you have the chance is going to be by far the best method when it comes to getting rewards like paradise eggs and stuff like that. But if you're going specifically for the safari eggs, use the second method in this video. And if you're going to be AFKing, AFK the safari shop. You don't even have to use a macro. And if you really do want to, you can go ahead and macro the NPC, but I just really don't think it's worth the time and effort it would take to organize your garden compared to just using 1 or maybe even 2 or 3 accounts for the safari egg. And keep in mind, once the shop reset timer goes down to 15 minutes, the amount of eggs you'll get every single day or every single hour is going to outweigh the amount of eggs you can hatch anyways. So yeah, that was a ton of different methods to farm this event. I hope at least one of them was useful for you guys. But like I said, I've been playing this event a lot myself, and I have already gotten myself a Nightmare Rainbow Hydra. Obviously, yes, I did pay to win to get a few Rainbow Hydras, but that's because these are quite possibly one of the best pets I've ever seen. And it's going to not only help me hatch my 3,000 spooky eggs, but also help me hatch a ton of safari eggs so I can hopefully get a elephant super fast. So I have one Nightmare Rainbow Hydra already, and my ultimate alt account is sitting here with a garden of Hydras waiting to hopefully get some more Nightmare mutations. I've only gotten one in the last day of trying to get Nightmare mutations, so I got pretty unlucky so far, but I'm going to be using at least 4 Nightmare Rainbow Hydras from now on, and then maybe some regular Nightmare Hydras or some huge Nightmare Rhinos, depending on which one I think is better, to hatch a ton of eggs. And obviously, alongside a ton of Brontosauruses, I should hopefully be able to hatch a big elephant that I can then use to make all my pets even more OP. That is my main goal now, getting as many safari eggs as possible and hatching as many eggs and elephants as possible. So who knows, I might make a video with my full team of Hydras and hatching some safari eggs, maybe even some paradise eggs, see what kind of pets I can get. Let me know if that interests you guys. But I did just notice I do have 12 safari eggs ready, so let's go ahead and test out my luck. Let's pick up all of my Hydras, use my Brontosauruses, and we'll see, maybe I can get lucky. Oh, that is an absolutely massive zebra. And the koi did replace one, but unfortunately I didn't get anything good. I'm going to have to get some more koi fish and some seals, but I'm super excited to keep farming this event for a ton of these rewards and hopefully hatch myself some of these pets. It's quite possibly the best pet ability lineup we have had for a while. That being said, as always, if you enjoyed this video, found it useful, or just want to stay updated on all the best leaks, tips, tricks, and methods for Grow a Garden, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Once again, I'm going to try to get into a more consistent uploading schedule from now on. I think honestly, I've been burnt out a little bit as well, so having a bit of a rest has helped me get back into the mindset of making videos. That being said, I really do appreciate all the support you guys have shown me, and I'm excited to see where this Safari update is going to be taking Grow a Garden. All being said, I hope you all have an amazing day and good luck gardening.